I just use this automation that you see here in front of me to generate around 1,100 business leads for real estate agencies in the US. You see here they come with the names, cities, postal codes, street addresses, opening hours, websites. Most of them come with email addresses, and almost all of them come with phone numbers, and you even find some with Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts, and so on. And I generated all of these leads using no paid APIs or anything like that. I just used the free Overpass API, and that's it, together with this automation here to generate all of this. And you can use this automation to generate leads for any kind of business in most regions around the world. And in this video, I'm going to show you how this automation works step by step. If you want to skip that and just get it immediately, you'll find a link to it in the description below. So the first step here is this part, which is the loop that loops over our list of queries that we're going to use to query the Overpass API for results. So if you open this up, you can see that here we have a list of all our queries for different cities and keywords. Now you can see here that I'm using the same keyword for all the cities, but you can combine this whichever way you want. I'm going to expand this to all the queries, and you can see here is the complete list. We have around 200 something here. Let's see here what it is. Yeah, 233 items. So in this case, I'm looking for real estate agencies. So I'm using the keyword real estate, and I'm looking for real estate agencies in America. So I have Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, etc. I've used Gemini here to generate this list. Just give it an example, use a sample of this as an example. You give it to Gemini and tell it to format the list that way, and then tell it what you want. If you want real estate agencies or whatever it is, and in which country or which bigger area region you want, and it's going to generate a nice list for you. So you see that each item here consists of this 3 parts: the out area, the in area, and the keyword. So the keyword is what you're looking for. The out area and in area here is the in area is the region that you're going to try to extract results for. So in this case, it's Los Angeles. Then we also have an outer area, which is the encompassing area of that in area that we're looking for. And the reason we're using this is to make it very clear for the API exactly which Los Angeles we are referring to here, because there might be some towns in America or in any other country called Los Angeles. So just to make it very clear that we're looking for Los Angeles in California, we have this outer area, so that we don't get results from areas that we don't want. So that's how this works. Oh, let's go out here. Now let's have a look at the scraping workflow. And yeah, you see here, it loops over the list, and for each item in the list, it's going to execute the workflow here on the right side. So here on the right side, the first step here is we're going to be receiving the items here on the left side. Now we cannot see this, exactly what's happening here, because this is executed in the background. So to see this, we're going to go over to the executions tab. And here we can see the main execution, the main workflow that is running. It's this one here with this icon. And that is this part on the left side. And then all the executions for the kind of, not scraping, because we're not scraping it, but the generating part that handles the rest. We can see them here in the executions tab. So here we see some that have already succeeded and finished. So let's click on one of these. This is the latest one. And here, down here, you can see, we can have a look at it and see exactly what happened. Now, this one here didn't completely finish. So for some reason, some of these will not get results. It could be different reasons. Maybe just results do not exist in that area for that keyword. So things like that can happen. Now let's have a look at another one. That one didn't do well either. And we can see this one executed successfully and reached the Google Maps node here at the end. So let's have a look at this one. So at the first step here, if you open up this node, you will see the item that we received. So in this case here, we had the keyword real estate for Buffalo. We're looking for real estates in Buffalo. And at the first step here, we are going to format this keyword here, real estate, into another format that you can see here on the right side, where it's lowercase and it has an underscore between the words. And I'm going to show you that reason Now, at the next step here, we're going to use this HTTP request node to send the request to the API. And if you open this up here, you will see that here on the right side, we are using this formatted version of the keyword for these three down here, but we're using the normal keyword here above. And I will go into this in more detail later in the video, but there's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain that later. So this is the query we're going to send to the Overpass API, and here we're going to be looking for real estate in the name and description, and also for these tags that we're going to talk about later. All right. And at the next step here, we have a set node. We're going to take and extract the list of data that we actually want, which is this one here, elements. This part here we don't need, so we're just going to extract this part, elements, and we'll get this list here with the key items. And then at the next step here, we have this split out node that splits everything out into a clean array following the default format of n8n that we can work with. And here we are going to set the fields as we want them. So here we're going to set only the data that we actually want to care about. So in this case, I want the name, website, city, postcode, street, opening hours, phone numbers, emails, Facebook, and things like that. And you see here we have Facebook, and we have Facebook prefixed by contact. It's because the results, sometimes they will give you the contact information like Facebook, email address, and so on, prefixed with contact, and sometimes they use another tag without the prefix. So that's why we take both tags here, and then we will format this later on. We'll fix this so we get it clean and just, clean and simple. I'll show you that later. Anyway, so here you see the different items, and you can see the different tags here. So you see that there's an office tag, and this one here has estate agent. Now we're looking for real estate, and it looked for the name tag. This does not have it has a name tag. So because we searched for real estate in the name tag, we got this result here. But if it wouldn't have the name real estate here in the name tag, we would not get this result. But had we used estate agent here on the office for the office tag, we would have still gotten that result. So we're going to talk more about this later. But just keep this in mind that some of these values, there are values here or some tags that you can't really know in advance. Even if you look at the documentation of the APIs, they're not really going to show you all of these values. So you have to just make a test run first and then see what works for a certain keyword. And then you can use that on the next run and get more data and more precise data. So you can see here that they all use estate agent. That's the default value for this tag office when it's a real estate business. So we're going to use that at our next run to get much more results, hopefully. Okay. At the next step, after extracting that data, we have this organize data code node. Takes all the properties of our item here, and then it just it reorganizes these one here, the contact information, so that we remove the contact prefix, basically. So in case we look for Twitter, for example, let's say we have a normal Twitter here, key, and we have the key prefixed with the contact Twitter. Whichever one of these has a value, we will take that value, and then it will be stored only as Twitter. So we don't have the duplicates, and you can see that here on the right side, we only have website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have removed the contact prefix that we have down here. So that is all this code node here basically does. And then here at the next step, we have this if node that's just going to test and see if there is a website. So if the item has a website or not. Why is this important? Because if it does not have a website, there's not much we can do. We're just going to pass it along. If it does have a website though, then we want to check if it has emails. Because if it hasn't already gotten emails, we might be able to scrape emails from their homepage. So if it has emails already, we're going to pass that along as well. But if it doesn't have emails, then we're going to send it down this path here, and we're going to loop over all the items And for each item, we're gonna extract the HTML of their website. After we have extracted the HTML of the website, in this node, we're gonna add the HTML page to each item so that we at the next step here can start the scraping process. So in this node here, what you're gonna see here is we're gonna now scrape the emails using just a regular expression here. And we're gonna scrape as many emails as we can as possible from the home page. And then we're just gonna add the emails here, append them to the rest of the properties of each item. And then we will end up here with this email tag, including all the emails for each item. And you see, not all of them necessarily will give you emails, but some will. Let's see here if we scroll down. Now, in this case, we did not receive emails, but in other cases, you may receive emails, one email, and sometimes you receive multiple emails. And you will see that later in the Google Sheet. And then at the next step here, we're going to clean the emails. So we're going to remove irrelevant emails. In many cases, we will get a lot of garbage, such as things with gstatic, ggpht, things that are totally irrelevant and are not business emails. If you ever find something like that, you can add that here to this regular expression between two types here. Just add the string that you want to check for, and you want to filter out if the emails contain that string. So, and here you see schema.org. We have that. We have a backslash here before the dot. That's because the dot has another meaning in regular expressions. So this is an escape character that tells the regular expression here or the engine that it should treat this as a normal dot in a string. So this is schema.org, and you disregard this backslash here. So it is schema.org. Anything that includes schema.org should be filtered out. So that is what this node does here. And then here at this node, we're going to append the items we got before here that either had no websites or had no websites and had no email. And then we're going to append these new here that has scraped emails. And we will get our final list of items. And here we get 5 items with websites, some with emails, and so on. And then we're going to filter away all items with no contact information. I have chosen here to filter away as long as they have, I'm using OR here to compare them. So as long as they have one of these, properties, they will not be filtered away. So as long as they have some kind of contact information, an email, a phone, a Facebook, an Instagram, or a Twitter, then I want to keep them. So you can change this to whatever fits you. And maybe you don't really care about they having contact information like this. Maybe it's enough that they have an address and a name. In that case, you can just remove this whole filter node. And then at the final step here, the data is going to be saved to the Google Sheet account. And then you can go over to your Google Sheet and you will see that data. So here is what I have scraped so far. If we scroll down, or actually we haven't really scraped, we have generated the data because we're using a real API here. Even though it's free and doesn't need any credentials, it's still a real API. We're allowed to generate this data, so we will never have any issues with them. They just ask us kindly not to overwhelm the service with too much requests in parallel. So as long as we scrape in a reasonable at a reasonable pace, we can generate how much data we want forever, completely for free. Okay, with that said, now let's go back here and have a look, and you can see we have different real estate businesses. You can see the cities here, postcodes, street addresses. Some have opening hours, some have websites, some have not. And you see here is the email addresses. Now you see some have emails and some are the emails that we have scraped. Now in this case here, you see all of these emails here has actually been scraped for this business. How do I know that? Because the API only returns one email per business. So when you have a list with multiple emails, then we have scraped those from their website. So here is some that have been scraped. These have also been scraped, almost certainly. And these two as well. and these emails here as well. So you can see here that maybe in this case, Better Homes and Garden Real Estate, moixworks.com does not really make sense in this case. So this might be an irrelevant email. And that what we can do then is go back to the filter node and add that there. And the clean emails here, we can just add that here. Let's say after this SVG part, add a pipe. Let's see here. Okay, I can't edit it here because we need to do that in the editor. If we go down here, we can add a pipe here. And I think it was Moix Works or something like that. Anyway, just add that string. So if I want to now delete anything that includes Moix Works, it's now going to filter that out. Or if I only want it to be a complete like web address, a real URL, then I can add a /.com. Now it will filter out everything that includes moixworks.com. But without the .com, it will filter out anything that includes just the string here, Moixworks, in any way, in the middle, at the end, or at the beginning. Okay. So let's now go back here to leads. And yeah, and you can see we also get phone numbers. The phone numbers here are all, we have received all of them from the API. And you see we almost always receive a phone number. And in some cases, to go over to the right side here, you see we also receive some Facebook accounts or Instagram and Twitter accounts here, and so on. Now let's go back and let's have a better look at the HTTP request node and how to query the Overpass API. So scroll down here and open this up so we can have a better look. Okay, now I'm going to try to explain what's going on here. So the first part here, first we start by telling it that we want the output as JSON and a max size of the output so we don't receive too large output. You don't have to worry about this. We're probably never going to reach that anyway. And then here we're telling it the areas where we want to get results from. And we're setting this area here to the inner area, which will be the city we want to get results from. And then the outer area, which is the encompassing area, just to help it understand exactly which city we want. Now, it doesn't have to be a city. It can be a town. It can be whatever, but just have a smaller area, which is the inner area, which is the one you want to get data from. And then you have an outer area around that area just to specify the area. And we call the inner area here small, and the other one, the bigger outer area, we call that big. And down here is the actual querying. So here we have our first one, which is we're going to query for the name of the result we get, so the name of the business. And here we're going to be using our keyword, and we're going to look for the businesses with this keyword in the name in the small area, or where the small and big area intersect. So basically in the city of the large area, for example, Los Angeles, California, that's what this represents here. So big has been set to the large area and small has been set to the smaller area. And this here refers to the intersection of these areas. That's where we're going to look for businesses with the name set to this keyword, or having this, including this keyword in their name, because here we're using a regular expression actually. So it doesn't really have to have that keyword as an exact name, but as long as that keyword is included in the name, anywhere in the name, then we will be getting that as a result. And this I here means that it's also case insensitive. So whether it's uppercase or lowercase, it will work. And we're doing that the same here for the description. We were also looking for the keyword here in the description. And if the description includes our keyword, in this case, it was real estate, anywhere in the description. For example, let's say the business has a description saying we are a real estate agency, then we will get that as a result as well. Now, to get a better look, let's go back and have a look at the editor instead, because now going to have a look at the executions, and there we might get a better view. So I'm going to open this up again, expand this, and you can see now that the keyword here turns into real estate, and the description here real estate as well. And for these three here, the shop, amenity, and office, you can see that we have this lowercase real estate, this version, this formatted version that I talked about before of the main keyword. And the reason is that these tags here, they always take they take a keyword as one word or a compound word separated by underscores by default. And these are not regular expressions, so you have to give them the keyword exactly as they want it. So in this case, it will only, this part here will only give us a result if the result has this shop tag set exactly to real estate with an underscore, and or amenity with real estate and an underscore, or office with real estate with an underscore. So these are not like these two above, which uses regular expression. As long as the real estate here, the keyword is included in anywhere in the name or anywhere in description, this will give us results. But in these cases down here, they have to be exact, and we're not using regular expressions here. The reason is because regular expressions are very expensive performance-wise. They're very slow. So if we add too many regular expressions here, the request is going to time out and we're not going to get any results, and the whole system is just going to break. So for that reason, to be as efficient as possible, I have played around with different combinations, and I found that the best thing is to keep the regular expression just for the name and description. That is how we maximize the amount of results we get. And then we can add other tags here that are not regular expressions. These three I found was the most popular ones, the most important ones, with the biggest likelihood of getting results. The shop tag, amenity tag, and office, and we use those without regular expressions, so they are very fast, but they need to match the keyword exactly. So now in this case, we're looking for real estate. If we go back here to this first node, or no, not that one, after this node, it's actually the HP request node. Okay, so in this case, we didn't get any results. So I'm going to show you this in another one. So in this one here, you see, if you have a look at the results, here is one example. You can see that, or here's also another example, that all of these real estate results, if they have the tag office, now they don't have the tag shop or amenity. In this case, if it was a dentist practice, for example, it would probably use amenity instead of office as a tag. But in this case, real estate agency seems to use the office tag, and it's set to estate agent. This is rather consistent. All of them use this keyword here, estate agent. So by inspecting this after our first run, using our keyword that we just came up with in the name and description, and after we're getting some results for what we're looking for, in this case real estate agencies, we can see what tags they use in general. In this case, we see that they're using this exact tag, estate agent, for the office, or this value, estate agent, for the office. Now we can use this instead on our next run. So instead of just guessing here, as we did down here, instead of just guessing and turning our main keyword into this one, which is actually wrong, it's not going to give us any results because these tags do not use this for real estate agencies. They used the one we just saw, which was estate agent. What we can do instead is we can go and change this manually. So we'll go over to the editor here, and next time we're going to scrape real estate businesses. We go down here, and instead of using this variable, we're just going to change this to what we found is what is used in the results. So it was estate agent in this case. So we're just going to change this to estate agent for all of these three, for the shop, amenity, and office. So on. However, for the name and description, we are going to leave it as is, because real estate is often part of the description or the name, or you could change that to some other keyword that is common, maybe realty, maybe property, things like that, because that is what we also see in the results. If we go back here to the results and have a look at the name, you see that real estate here is part of the name. Here it's part of the name, of course, because that's what we looked for. But if you just looked for realty, for example, you would get other with realty in their name. And then if you kept estate agent, you would still get all results that has the office set to estate agent as well. So that's basically how this automation works. If you want to get this, there is a link in the description below. I hope you find this valuable. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more content like this. And until next time, take care.